Morningstar. Lucifer was pissed. He was beyond pissed, and all of hell and Silver City knew it. Why might you ask? Well, just 5 hours ago, Lucifer was living his new life as Minato Morningstar Namikaze, alongside his beautiful wife, Kushina Uzumaki Namikaze. It was a special day for the couple, for it was the day that their son was going to be born. Lucifer was shocked the day his beautiful bride told him that she was carrying his child. For every time he was on Earth, no woman was able to give him a child, no matter how many times he had tried. But Kushina was special from all the other women. She was a Jinchuriki. She was the Jinchuriki to the most powerful of the tailed beast, the Kyubi no Yoko, or Kyubi no Kitsune. For the demon fox held 9 tails, as was the most powerful out of his siblings. That night of October 10th, Minato and Kushina welcomed to the world a little boy. To everyone's amazement, had black hair with red mixed into it, and the most heavenly blue eyes that anyone had ever seen. But the happy family's enjoyment was cut short when an Anbu came flying through the door, and a masked man walked into the safe house. With just a blink of an eye, the man was before Kushina and ripping the baby from her hands and holding him upside down by his feet and holding a kunai to the crying baby's neck. Minato's eyes flashed crimson as his only child was being threatened before him. "Before Lucifer Morningstar, return my son," he demanded, his voice taking on an icy edge to it. The man smirked behind his mask. "You will give me what I want, Morningstar, or else this child will take your place," his voice dripping with venom as he spoke. As the fox rushed to heal Kushina, said woman was slowly leaking out her chakra chains to bind the man and get her son back. Her crimson chains slithered up the side of the man as Minato made to rush him. As the chains finished their job and wrapped around the man, Minato reached for his son, but not before the kunai cut the boy on his cheek. The baby was now crying as blood rolled down his cheek. Minato pulled his son away and flashed step to another safe house where the third and his wife awaited the happy family. Minato appeared before him. "My family has been attacked. Please take Naruto and keep him safe," he said as he vanished once more. Sarutobi turned to his wife. She nodded her head to him as he vanished in a swirl of leaves. Kushina was still too weak as the masked man was able to overpower her, and now was pulling the Kyubi from her belly. He smirked as his single crimson eye looked down at her. "There is nothing you nor your foolish husband can do to stop me. But I can only leave you with a parting gift, one that I'm sure you'll both enjoy." He pulled a kunai out of his robe and drove it into her stomach and twisting it for extra majors. "Without your little fox, you will not survive from this." He laughed as he went after his prize and placed the Kyubi into a genjutsu. "Now, my pet, burn this village to the ground," laughed the masked man as his mask was impacted by a fist and sent him flying off the Kyubi and into a store where civilians hid from the rampaging beast. "You made a grave mistake in attacking my family, and another for hurting my child. I will end you," growled Minato as his eyes glowed a soft crimson, where once his gentle blue eyes held love and happiness, now was the promise of death and pain. "I shall not forgive your transgression to my family and village." He held 2 tri-pronged kunai in his hands as flames licked around the blades. The man's single eye widens from fear, for he could see the 4th Hokage's face turn into a demon as black wings appeared behind him. He pushed himself off the ground and charged the man. "That genjutsu doesn't frighten me," he yelled as a large metal fan appeared in his hands. Minato laughed as he slashed at the man before him. "You're mistaking what is my true face for a genjutsu." Minato leaned in close to the man as his mouth was next to the man's ear. "Why would I, Lucifer Morningstar the devil, need to use a genjutsu on my true face?" The man pushed off Minato. Lucifer, how?" stammered the man as his crimson eye held fear. Minato smirked as he drove one of his flaming kunai into the left side of the man. The flames began burning his robe. "This will not be the end of this, for my pet is destroying your village," he said as he vanished into a black hole. Bastard, growled Minato as he left the building to see more than half of Konoha in flames as civilian and shinobi alike ran and fought back. Many lay dead on the ground. Without thinking, Minato jumped onto the Kyuubi's head and was gone with seconds. As Minato flash-stepped the beast away, the genjutsu that he was under began to fade. "Fucking Madara! I'm going to kill that bastard!" growled out the Kyuubi as he looked around him and saw Kushina bleeding on the ground. Next to her was her husband holding her tight. "Kurama, please return to me," said Kushina as she coughed up blood. Kurama looked down at his former host. He slowly shakes his head. "Child, you would only die taking me back into you. If you don't, then you'll be hunted again and resealed into someone who doesn't care and would only hurt you," cried Kushina as she slowly pushed herself up. "Then seal me within your son. But make it to the point I am able to move freely out of his seal to protect and train him," said Kurama as he knew she wasn't long for this world, and something strange about her husband told him he wouldn't be here for much longer. Kushina cried as Minato vanished to bring their child to the Kyuubi and make the child the new Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi. As Minato reappeared, he got the seal ready and went through the hand signs. As he yelled sealing jutsu, a man with silver hair appeared next to him. "Lucifer, it is time to return, my son. You have had your fun, and for this seal to work, you need my blessing, for it is one of 3 heavenly seals needed to seal Kurama whole and keep the darkness away from young Naruto's heart, as well as Kurama's." Lucifer looked at his father with rage written across his face. "I will not leave my son," he growled out. God smiled. "He will not be alone. He will have Kurama here to raise and protect him as well. We will help him from the shadows," he told his son. "But, father, I am still strong and able to fight. I can be here for him as well," said Lucifer as he glared darkly at his father. "I'm afraid not, Lucifer. Something has happened in hell, and the balance is off. The dead are returning to life, and the reapers are not able to handle things, and the ones you left to watch things over have failed," said God as he placed a hand on his son's shoulder. Lucifer sighed as he knew that if he didn't return, things would only get worse in the land of the living, and if he wanted any type of future for his son, then he was going to have to leave him. He looked at his father. "Fine, but I want my wife with me in the afterlife. She is my angel of light." God nodded his head, and the seal was finished, and Kurama came out of the seal with a silver choker on his neck, and it was in a human form. He looked like Kushina, if she was a male. Kushina held her son one last time and kissed him. "I love you, Naruto Morningstar Uzumaki Namikaze. Grow up to be a good man like your father, and strong like me." She looked up at Kurama. "Please keep him safe," she said with tears as the light from her eyes slowly began to fade. Minato took his son from his wife and held the boy for a while. "Naruto, I am sorry I will not be around for when you need me the most. I'm sorry for forsaking you to this life of a Jinchuriki, and most of all I am sorry for everything that is to come," he said as tears rolled down his cheeks, and he kissed his son for the very last time. Kurama walked up to the man and looked at him. "So, Lucifer, you did break out of hell again," he said with a knowing smirk. "Don't worry. I'll take care of the kid," he told him. "Be sure to protect him, Kurama, or I will rain down hell on your ass," said Lucifer as he turned to his father. God nodded his head as several scrolls appeared before Kurama. "You will need these for his training. As well, I had fixed Minato's and Kushina's will. So, you will be able to raise the child," he told Kurama as said Foxman nodded his head. 2 blood clones of Minato and Kushina took their place, as Minato had to fake his death and return to hell, and long his side was, he beloved wife that God had made into an angel for his son. For he knew the loneliness Lucifer so longed for to end, and it had when he had met this very special woman. Also, it didn't hurt that Kushina kind of scared his son. Third and Jiraiya had finally arrived to find the 2 new parents dead and a strange man that could pass as Kushina's twin brother holding their child. "Who are you?" demanded Sarutobi as Jiraiya checked to see if the 2 were still alive. Kurama looked at the two monkeys and down at the baby that was now sleeping. "I am Kushina's twin brother," he told them. "We didn't know she had a brother," said Jiraiya as he narrowed his eyes at Kurama. "I have the letter she sent me," said Kurama as he pulled a letter from his pocket and handed it over to the old man. "Dear baby brother, I am so glad at receiving the letter from you about a month ago. I'm happy that you did make it out of the village alive before it fell. I have missed you so much, and I hope you get here before my son is born. That's right. You're going to be an uncle, and I know I'm going to need your help once the baby comes. For Minato is still so clueless and doesn't have the slightest idea on what to do when the baby is here. But I must go. I need to finish the baby's room and get a room set up for you. Once you get here, just come to the Uzumaki estate, and all will be ready. Love, your big sister Kushina." As you can tell, that is my sister handwriting, and as an Uzumaki, I am entitled to raise her son and my nephew. As well, I am entitled to all Uzumaki land and deeds, till Naruto is old enough to take over as head of both Uzumaki and Namikaze clans. That is, if he truly wants to, said Kurama as he looked at both men. As Jiraiya was about to say something, Sarutobi raised his hand to stop him. "Fine, we will escort you to their home, but in the morning we will be going over their wills." For Jiraiya and Tsunade had been named the boys' godparents, the second Kushina and Minato knew she was going to have a baby. He told Kurama. Kurama raised a crimson eyebrow to this. "I don't give a damn. I am his only family and I will do all in my power to keep him safe and well cared for," he told the two men with anger lacing his voice. Jiraiya glared at him. "I don't give a damn, you're Kushina's brother. I will be in the boy's life as well as Tsunade," he said as he turns to leave. He needed to go find the woman and tell her what had happened, and he best do it quickly. Hell. Lucifer began looking in the files for one name, Madara Uchiha. Maze walked into Lucifer's office and saw 3 other Lucifers working and looking at files and scrolls. Behind her was Kushina. Maze had taken it upon herself to give the woman a makeover, and Kushina was having a little issue with wearing a tight leather pencil skirt with a black C-though topped with a black bra. Her crimson locks pulled back into a ponytail. "Found the file on Madara," said Maze as she placed it before Lucifer. He looked up at her. "Where in bloody hell was it?" asked Lucifer as he saw that written across it. "Missing." Kushina walked up to her husband and placed a hand on his shoulder. Someone must have let him out or something. Lucifer looked at her and over to Maze. "Where is the demon that was keeping watch on him?" he asked. Maze smirked. "The old bastard killed her. He tricked her into loving him and then killed her." "Kushina, my love, we have a lot of work to do and not enough time. For Madara has ranted to others that he was going to bring the end of the elemental nations, and he needs all the tail beasts to do it," said Lucifer as he saw the fear in his wife's eyes. "What do you need of me?" asked Kushina. Heaven and hell wasn't going to stop her from helping her son. Lucifer smirked. "I need you to help Maze train a couple demons and angels that I will be sending to Earth to help out. I will deal with my father about getting a few angels," he told his wife as she nodded her head. Maze watched on as she wonders what made this woman so special and different from all the others. Not even that detective was able to bring a change into Lucifer, and that woman was created by God just for him. Chapter 2. Hello everyone. Lucifer walked into Silver City as he was flanked by his wife Kushina and his right-hand demon Maze. "Hello, father. We need to talk," he said as he stopped before his father as the others stopped what they had been doing and looked at their trouble-making brother before them all. God smiled down at his son. "What brings you back to Silver City, my son?" he asked with an all-knowing smile. "I am here to speak to you about something we talked about," said Lucifer as he smirked back as he knew his father was playing the fool. Maze and Kushina looked at all the angels gathered around their father. Maze glared at her former lover, as Kushina looked at the two with questionable eyes. Maze just shook her head at the crimson hair woman as both turned back to look at Lucifer. I know, Lucifer. You are here for the angels that will be protecting your son as well as helping in his growth as a shinobi, said God as he smiled at his son. The others looked at their father with amazement, as gasps could be heard all around. Amenadiel stepped forth. What is the meaning of this, Lucifer? He asked his brother. Lucifer looked over at his brother and smirked. Brother, I'm surprised father hasn't informed everyone here that as of tonight, I am a father and I had to leave my son alone on Earth for some assholes have fucked up while I was away. He told everyone. A father? Asked a shocked Amenadiel as he studied his brother. Kushina stepped forth. We were forced to leave our son behind, for Madara Uchiha attacked us after I gave birth to our son. She told them. Whispers could be heard from all around them. I held Kurama within me. I was his Jinchuriki. The Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi no Yoko or Kyuubi no Kitsune to others. He wanted the fox and waited till I was at my weakest point, said Kushina as Maze looked at her with surprise. Lucifer nor Kushina never told anyone once they had appeared in hell. All Lucifer wanted was the file or scroll on Madara Uchiha. I thought Madara Uchiha was locked away in the deepest part of hell, said Amenadiel as he turns to look back at his father. Father, is this true? Yes, it is my son, said God. Then I will go and help my nephew, said Amenadiel as he looked at his other brothers and sisters. Azrael stepped forth. I want to help as well, she told her father as she stood next to her brother Amenadiel. Uriel appeared from behind his brother and sister. I shall go as well. For you would need to keep an eye on things, he said with a smirk. Very well. You three with go and be the guides from heaven as Lucifer will have 3 from hell as well to help. I am sure Maze will be the leader of the pack, said God. Lucifer smirked. Yes, Maze will be there to make sure everything goes as planned. As well, everyone will be training with Maze and my wife Kushina. For none of you are able to use chakra and Maze has been using it for a very long time, he told the others. Maze smirked at everyone. I hope you 3 are ready to be my bitches, she told them as she turns to leave Silver City. She was getting tired of the place. If she had to be anywhere, she would like to be back in LDA, hanging out at Lux with her old friends. The 3 looked to their father for his approval to leave with their troublesome brother. God nodded his head to his children as they followed after Lucifer and his wife, Kushina. The gates of Silver City once more closed to the fallen one. Earth. Kurama Uzumaki stood before the Shinobi Council as Sarutobi had ordered the Civilian Council to leave. Many of the civilian councilmen complained about this unfair treatment of them. But Kurama had refused to speak while they were there. He felt that it's Shinobi business and those fools had no right to be there whatsoever. I do not see why this foreigner is getting his way, whined one pink-haired banshee as she was pushed out of the council chambers by an Ambu wearing an Inu mask. Damn banshee, always putting her nose where it doesn't belong, thought Kurama as he glared at the retreating form of her and the others. Kurama held a small bundle in his arms as he looked over at the shinobi side. Tsunade was sitting in her family seat, but by the looks of her, she was nursing a hangover from the night before. He looked over to the third Hokage and saw Jiraiya standing behind the old man. I am Kurama Uzumaki, and the twin brother of one Kushina Uzumaki Namikaze. I arrived in the village during the fight with the Kyuubi, and was entrusted by her and her husband Minato Namikaze to watch over and raise their only son Naruto Morningstar. Uzumaki Namikaze, said Kurama as he was hearing whispers from the people. Tsunade opened her eyes and looked down at the man. You are the last of the main Uzumaki family, she asked him. Yes, I am. Kushina had feared me dead with the others of our village after the attack that took our home forever away from us, said Kurama as he just wanted to get this over with. What other villages had you been to? Asked Jiraiya, as none of his spy network knew of this man before him. I have been only to the small fishing villages in my travels. With my crimson hair, it would not be wise for me to be at any of the major villages or villages close to them, for an Uzumaki would be very valuable to the wrong people. We are seal masters after all, and we have very interesting bloodlines, said Kurama, as he looked Jiraiya dead in the eyes. Everyone nodded their heads. They remembered when Kushina was almost kidnapped by Kumo. It wouldn't end well for Kurama if he was caught and turned into breeding stock. Only few people knew Kushina was the Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails. What of the fox? What happened to him? Asked Sarutobi as he wanted to know. Kurama sighed as he looked down at the baby in his arms. He has been forsaken as the new Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails. That is why I refuse to speak of this in front of those fools on the civilian council. For the boy is hero, and should be treated as one and not seen as the demon he holds. He told them as he glared at the elders behind the old Hokage. I still worry about telling you, for I do not trust those old fools behind you, Lord Third. The elders glared at the crimson hair man. Who is he to treat us like commoners? Thought the old fools. What they didn't know was soon their judgment would be coming for them. Like the old saying goes, you reap what you sow, and they had done a lot of shady dealings in the past behind their Hokage's backs. I understand your worry and fears, Kurama-san, but I assure you, what is said here will not leave these walls, said Sarutobi as he smiled at the man before him. I hope you are right about that, for if anyone finds out about this child holding the mightiest of all bijous, there will be hell to pay, said Kurama as his crimson eyes hardened and a crimson aura surrounded his whole body. Tsunade laughed as she looked at the man down before her and to her sensei. He has a point. If word ever got out about this, we will know someone in this very room has loose lips, and I will make their lives a living hell, she said as she also glared at the elders. Troublesome. She does have a point, and we here as shinobi no loose lips sink ships, and it would place our village in danger with any of our enemies, said Shikaku Nara. That is true. Since the attack T has been very busy with spies that have been caught coming into the village. We do not need more from within our own very walls, said Inoichi. The other heads of the clans nodded their heads. For right now their village was at its weakest it had ever been, and their current Jinchuriki was no use to them whatsoever. For what could a newborn do? And for that infant's uncle wouldn't do anything to help this village, for it wasn't his true home, and he was only there for that child alone. Kurama looked over the clan heads and sighed. I would fight for this village. Do not forget my family along with the Senjus and Uchihas helped build this village. If my late Aunt Mito meant nothing to you people whatsoever, he told them. Tsunade narrowed her eyes at the man. She knew Kushina was her grandmother's niece and her cousin. Mummers could be heard as they talked amongst themselves. They knew he spoke the truth, and there wasn't anything they could tell him. For Konoha was the sister village to the Whirlpool. Then when Naruto is older, I want you to enlist as a shinobi of this village, said Sarutobi as he looked down at Kurama. Kurama just smirked. Good luck with that, you old fool, he thought to himself. Soon the others will be here and they wouldn't know what hit them. During this entire time, Shikaku watched Kurama with lazy eyes. He knew this man before him was up to something, but he didn't know what, and the strange feeling he was getting from him was leaving him unsettling feeling within his stomach. Hell. Lucifer walked back into his office as the others followed behind him. Who will you be sending from here? Asked Kushina as she wished she could return to her son. But it wouldn't be good for the dead to return to the living once more. Lucifer looked up at his wife. He let out a sigh. I haven't given it any thought so far. I know I couldn't entrust our son to many of the demons here. Yes, they are loyal to me in hell. But would that loyalty change once they leave to go to Earth? He questioned as they looked at everyone in the room. Then why not send one of the souls we have here that you have befriended throughout the years? Suggested Maze. She could find a few souls that would enjoy returning to Earth. Lucifer sat down thinking about it. That could work. he said as he pulled a few files from his desk as his clones worked on the stack of files, littering the whole office. Lucy, how are there 3 more of you in here? Asked Amenadiel as the others nodded their heads. They are just shadow clones. Physical clones of the person who uses the jutsu, said Kushina as she looks at the others as if it wasn't anything major. Shadow clones? Asked Azrael as she walked up to one of the clones and touched it. You do know it is annoying, right? Asked Lucifer Clone 1. She jumped back frightened, as she didn't expect it to speak and feel so real. It's real, she gasped out. What did you expect to put your hand right through me? Asked the same shadow clone. Azrael nodded her head to the clone's question, for this is something she had never seen in her life. Maze walks up to the clone and pulls a kunai from her back pocket and stabs it. The clone goes wide-eyed and goes up in a poof of smoke as Lucifer glares at Maze. See, one good fatal hit and it's gone, she told the others. Damn it, Maze, that bloody hurt, said Lucifer as he makes another clone to replace the one that Maze took out. One is able to make clones like these with the use of chakra, and that is something we need to awaken in the 3 of you, said Kushina as she walks up to the others. So, be warned, it is painful. Uriel looks down at the crimson hair woman. Why are you with my brother? He asked. This was something that had been bothering him for a while. Why would anyone willingly stay with Lucifer? Kushina stopped as she turned around and looked at Uriel. Why do you ask? She asked him with confusion written on her face. What would make you fall in love with Lucifer? Even after you found out he is Satan, you are still by his side, and I want to know why, said Uriel as he looked the crimson hair woman over. Kushina looked over at Lucifer and back at his siblings. She sighed as she was starting to feel extremely tired now. I fell in love with him during my time in Konoha. But what really made me fall in love with him was the night I was kidnapped, and he followed after us and saved my life. For several shinobi from Kumo had taken me and had planned to turn me into breeding stock. For an Uzumaki was very valuable in the shinobi world, said Kushina. After that, he and I grew close. We fell in love with each other. When I told him that I was a Jinchuriki, he didn't judge me. He was open to me and told me the truth, and who he was, and why he was on Earth. That he needed a break from hell and wanted to try to have a life without all the darkness, said Kushina as she walked around Lucifer's desk and leaned down and kissed the man. Lucifer smiled as he kissed her back. She is special to me. Someone who never turned their back on me and welcomed me into her life with open arms, and never once did she question anything I did. For she knew I did it to keep her and those I care for safe, he told the others. You found love, and now you are in this mess with a madman on the loose and an innocent child cared for by a demon? Asked Amenadiel. Well, if you put it that way, then yes, said Lucifer as he smirked at his brother. Have you thought about sending Chloe up to Earth as one of the boys' watchers? Asked Maze as she was grinning now. Lucifer looked at Maze for a moment. I don't know. You know her soul is up in Silver City. I could send Officer Dausch. But he still isn't talking to me, he told Maze as she smirked at her boss. He would be fun to send back to Earth, said Maze as she thought about how the man would react to that fact. The world had changed. Too bad I couldn't send Trixie. That child would love it there. She did always like playing ninja with you, Maze, said Lucifer as he smirked. That little human was always so much fun to play with. I was shocked that she was willing to come to hell when she passed away, said Maze as she grinned. As if she knew they were talking about her, Trixie walked into Lucifer's office. Hello, Lucifer. Kushina looked wide-eyed at the little girl standing at the office door. She is just a child, she said with surprise in her voice. Trixie smirked at the crimson hair woman. No, I'm a grown-up. It's just more fun moving around here as a child, she told the crimson hair woman. Just then, Trixie took her adult form. She stood at 5'10" with long black hair that was up in twin pigtails as it touched the ground. Her dark eyes had a beautiful glow to them. She smiled at Kushina. Ah, Trixie, you are still the little scamp as always, said Lucifer as he smirked at her. Well, what can I say? I felt my ears ring, and that only happens when you and Maze are talking about me. So, I had to come and find out what was going on. All I heard was something about playing ninja, said Trixie as she smirked. I know I always like her, my favorite little human, said Maze as she grinned at the girl. Trixie, it is good to see you once more, said Amenadiel as he walked up to the girl and hugged her. It's good to see you are well, Amenadiel. But what brings you three from Silver City? Asked Trixie. Also, how's my mom doing, by the way? She asked as they broke the hug. She is doing well. But we are here for Lucifer had a child, and we are going to be trained to use chakra so we can move more freely in this new age of shinobi, said Amenadiel. Trixie's eyes lit up at hearing about shinobi. For real? I would love to go and play ninja and meet your son Lucifer, she told him as her eyes sparkled. Maze walked up to Trixie and hung her arm around the girl's neck. Well, I guess it was a good thing that you had been training with me on learning how to use chakra, she asked the girl. Hell yeah, it was totally worth it, said Trixie as she hugged Maze. Lucifer smirked. Leave it to you, Maze, to always having a backup plan for me. This will make it a lot easier with three of us to teach the four others on how to use chakra and learn their jutsu style, said Kushina as she smirked at the girl. Hey Lucy, who's the lady? Asked Trixie as she looked at Kushina. Lucifer smirked as he pulled Kushina into his lap. She is my beautiful bride and the mother of my son, he told Trixie as Kushina wrapped her arms around Lucifer's neck. Wow, about damn time you found true love, said Trixie as she smirked at the two. So, who will be the final member of this team? Asked Uriel as he looked at the others. Sakumo stumbled into the doorway of Lucifer's office. He held a bottle of sake in his right hand as he looked at everyone in the room with a drunken smirk. Send me, he told everyone. Lucifer arched an eyebrow to this. Why would I send an old drunker like you to watch over my son, he asked. Sakumo leaned against the doorframe. Think of it as a thank you and a payback for caring for my son after my untimely death, he told Lucifer. Sakumo, you took your own life. Something I don't think you should have done, said Kushina as she frowned at the silver-haired man. Sakumo smirked at Kushina. I didn't commit suicide? Danzo jumped me with his little root ambu and hung me, telling me it was for the good of the village for I was too weak, and he couldn't have me tainting the others with my weakness, he told her. That bastard. He took you from Kakashi-kun and sent that boy down a very dark path, and he closed himself up to all those around him. But it took the death of his teammate to get him to open up to the others. If just a little, said Kushina as she was tearing up. Sakumo tightened his hand around the neck of the sake bottle as it shuttled into 1,000,000 pieces. I want to go back and kill that bastard for what he has done to my family, he told Lucifer. Fine, but you will not be able to return the way you are now. You will have to change your appearance. For I do not know how it would affect Kakashi at this moment. For we were the last of the family he had, said Lucifer as he looked at his old friend. Sakumo smirked as he stood straight. I guess it was a good thing I had become a demon, he said as his silver hair turned black and his black eyes took on a silver color to them. His face became more fuller from how it was once narrow. Even his build changed a little from a lean body of a swimmer. He became a little stockier, but he never gave up any of his speed or flexibility. Then it appears my team is all set to get these little angels ready for what is to happen next, said Maze as she grinned even more. Very well, Maze. Take them and have your fun. I will send my wife to help you soon, said Lucifer. Maze nodded her head as she turns to the others and gave them a look. Let's go, she said as she left the building with the others following behind her. Do you really think your siblings will be able to take care of our son? Asked Kushina as she laid her head on his shoulder. Lucifer wrapped her into his arms. With you and the others, I am sure they will do fine, said Lucifer. He knew she was worried about them messing everything up and placing Naruto and Kurama in more danger. But with Maze, Sakumo, and Trixie, things will go fine. Those three he could trust more than the other three. Earth. Kurama glared at Tsunade as she was standing in his way. What do you want, blasted woman? I need to get Naruto fed and you just want to be in the way, he growled out. Tsunade narrowed her eyes at the man. I want to be here to help care for my godson. I know Jiraiya will be useless during this point of the boy's life, and this would also free you up to take on missions for the village, she told him with a smirk. I do not think so. I will not have you getting in my way and placing the boy in danger. You are a drunk and a horrible gambler. You need to clean yourself up first before I will even think about allowing you to help me with my nephew. Till then you will stay out of my way, said Kurama as he pushed past her and entered his home as a shadow clone followed behind him with all the supplies needed for baby Naruto. He knew Kushina had everything already, but he felt it would be good to get a little extra, for one never knew if it would come in handy while all the shops are closed. Tsunade stood there in shock for the way the man had talked to her. When she turns to follow after him and give him a piece of her mind, the door was slammed shut into her face and Seal appeared before her. It was blocking her from coming in. Until you are clean and sober, you will not be entering this house, said Kurama as his voice carried past the door. Tsunade glared at the closed door and turned to walk away. At the gate stood Jiraiya. So, he wants you to clean up your act before he allows you around their son, he asked with a smirk. Tsunade glared at him. I'm pretty sure he will be telling you the same thing. So I wouldn't be acting so high and mighty yourself, she told him with a smirk as Jiraiya's face contorted into a frown. I don't think he would be doing that to me. I am a god among men, said Jiraiya with a cocky grin. As the two Sannin spoke, someone appeared before the two. That also goes for you as well, dirty old man. For when it comes time for you to train my nephew, you will not be dumping him on others or running off to do that research of yours that you claim to be so proud of, said Kurama as he glared at the old pervert before him. What? Yelled Jiraiya in shock. Why would you do something so horrible to all of mankind? He cried. I don't give a damn. You are worthless to the boy once he is older. There is a time and a place for your BS. So, if you want to be in the boy's life, you will also clean up your act and do what is right to stand next to this boy. For once the others show, they will leave you two in the dust, said Kurama as he turned to leave the two Sannin to their very own thoughts. Both Sannin stood there stunned in their very own thoughts, as well as processing his very words of others to coming to be in the boy's life. For if they wanted anything to do with their godson, then they will have to do whatever it will take to make things easier for their last remaining family. Chapter 3. It had been 3 years since the Kyuubi attack. 3 long years with Kurama fighting to get Tsunade to open her eyes and change her life, as well as getting Jiraiya to change his ways. The Toad Sage was being seen more with respect within the village walls, and less women fear going to the hot springs. But what he did when he wasn't in the village was left to his own discretion. Today, Kurama felt it was the right time to begin to train Naruto in using his chakra and gain some type of control. Alright kid, we are going to be working on tree walking. You have done well with the leaf balancing, so now it's time to step it up. Once you get tree walking down, I will make you add leaves all around your body. For Uzumakis have larger than normal chakra pool as well, you are special and have another type of chakra within you, said Kurama as he walked around the small black red hair boy. Naruto's blue eyes never leaving the man. Really? He asked as his eyes sparkle. You're going to teach me how to walk up a tree. He was bouncing around the training field by this point, and Kurama was beginning to wonder if there was something wrong with the kid, for he had never seen a child so hyper. But stopped when he remembered Kushina when she was little, and that girl was bouncing off walls and buildings. So, Naruto was still a little calmer than his mother. Yeah, I am. Now sit down and watch me, ordered Kurama as he focused chakra to the soles of his feet. He slowly took one step up the tree and then another. As he walked up the tree, Naruto's eyes had grown to the size of dinner plates. Wow, that is amazing! He yelled as he jumped to his feet and ran up to the tree looking up at his uncle. Kurama smiled down at his nephew. This will help you in the future, he said as he was now hanging upside down. Naruto closed his eyes and focused his chakra at his feet. Taking a deep breath, he took a step forth. It stuck. So he took another, and it stuck as well. But then as he took his third step, his chakra surged, and he fell flat on his back. Opening his eyes, he looked up at his uncle. Tears had slowly began to well up on the corner of his eyes. He had fallen on a rock, and it was stabbing into his side. Hell. About time you worthless fools have got this all down, said Maze as she, threw her hands up in the air. Trixie giggled from her spot on top of Sakumo's shoulders. Ah, Maze, don't get too upset. They are like babies learning how to walk, she told the older demoness. Sakumo grinned as he looked up at Trixie. Come now, my little angel. You shouldn't be making fun of Maisie here, he said as he grinned. Maze glared at the two and turned back to the three frightened angels. We will be leaving as soon as we report to Lucifer, she told them as she walked to the entryway but stopped and turned back to them. Get your shit and be ready to leave within an hour. With that, she was gone. Sakumo looked up at Trixie grinning. Those sealing scrolls we packed are in my pouch. So we are all set to leave now, he told the young demoness on his shoulder. Yeah, but I think Maze wants to pack all her toys, said Trixie with a devilish smirk. He nodded his head and looked over at the others. Go to your rooms and get dressed. We have placed shinobi outfits for my home village for you three, and Lucy should have our paperwork all in line for us, said Sakumo as he and Trixie left the room and went to Lucifer's office. Lucifer's office. Maze stormed into Lucifer's office as the door slammed into one of his shadow clones as he was sitting at his desk as he talked with his wife. As Kushina sat on top of his desk, they both looked up and Lucifer frowned at Maze. What's the matter, Maze? Asked Lucifer. Kushina just raised a crimson eyebrow looking at the demoness. Sitting on her lap was a large scroll that had Naruto written across it. Maze followed his sight and smirked. I see you have our cover story ready as well, she said as he looked over at the scroll next to Kushina. She raised an onyx eyebrow at the crimson hair woman. After running that village, I know all the BS you will have to go through when you go to the front gates, said Lucifer as he sighed and looked down at the scrolls. The green scroll for the gate guards about a bogus mission with true information about you being in Kumo, gathering information on the 2 tails and 8 tails. The crimson scroll goes to the Hawkage along with the green scroll after the gate guards look it over, he told her. What of the blue scroll? asked Maze as she looked down at it. Kushina smirked at it. That one goes to Kurama, she told Maze as Lucifer smirked at her. Yes, Kurama will need this scroll. Also, it holds several secrets about the village and about his siblings, said Lucifer as he grinned. Just be ready when Kurama will go to war with the council.